It seems that Games Workshop's new version of Warhammer Epic is finally here. Legions Imperialis is getting a big release after weeks of delays. Let's take a look at the big box, the prices, and all of the accompanying releases for Space Marines, Leman Russes, and Beyblades, but much smaller. Hello and welcome back to Horse Bets Tactics, where today I thought it would be interesting to see what Games Workshop's coming out with the new Legions Imperialis release. Now we finally know a few more details and the prices and the actual kits that they're coming out with for 40k/Horus Heresy, but much smaller. Games Workshop announced this over 4 months ago at this point. Basically, it's a new version of Warhammer Epic set in the Horus Heresy, as the absolute original version of that was. This one done at an 8mm scale, around about 1/4 of the size of Warhammer 40k type scaling, meaning that miniatures were maybe a little bit bigger than original Epic. Games Workshop's been extensively previewing the system over the past few weeks, showing off lots of new models and various snippets out of the game rules. And the system uses really quite a lot of established Knight and Titan models from Adeptus Titanicus, and some of the Aeronautica Imperialis models that are relevant for the setting, though it does sort of look like it's just eclipsing both of those games a bit now. Lots of the other Aeronautica stuff went out of production when this was announced. Perhaps some of the biggest weirdness with this whole release is that it's been delayed a very long time over the last couple of months. In theory, I think it was supposed to come out in September, though for whatever reason Games Workshop have had some enormous delays with it. I've heard lots of rumours about them needing to reprint the rulebooks for one reason or another, and for that I've seen quite a lot of speculation, either due to the books being too full of errors, having some print quality problems. I've seen it mentioned a few times they might have had some sort of dodgy references to real-world military organisations that Games Workshop wouldn't like. I'm not sure of the actual reason, and Games Workshop isn't likely to tell us, but feel free to let us know if you know anything more in depth or just rampant speculation down in the comments. It's all fun. In any case, for whatever reason it had to be redone and repackaged, it looks like it's coming out around about 2 months after Games Workshop might have liked it to, and as a result it's just been a bit strange them repeatedly previewing new models for the system. Things that were kind of clearly meant to be revealed after the main box set was out and people were already playing. In any case, it does look like this new version of Epic is going to be coming this week. Pre-orders should be going online on Saturday the 18th of November, and then the box set and the individual things will get in stores for the 25th of November. I'm not sure if it's partly just playing catch up or if this was all intended to drop at the same time right from their original designs, but the release week for this one is truly enormous in terms of the amount of kits that are coming out. Quite a lot of things are also being repackaged from Titanicus and Aeronautica Imperialis, though it does look like maybe things are a little bit more limited as to what sort of things go to third-party discount retailers. It doesn't look like Games Workshop is offering the entire range to them, just a subset of things. Of course, the headline acts that we'll get onto first is Legions Imperialis, the Horus Heresy. That's the big box that they kicked off the announcements with Solar Auxilia versus Space Marines, plus some Warhammer Titans and the big rulebook. Then there's a bunch of individual formations with infantry boxes both for the Space Marines and the Solar Auxilia, the plastic Aeronautica scale Thunderhawk gunship, and some boxes of tanks with the Deimos pattern Rhinos, the Kratos heavy tanks, and the Baneblades. Then for other things that look like they're making their way to third-party discounters, there's also the Warlord Titan with the Plasma Annihilator, the Reaver Titan with the Melter Cannon and Chain Fist, and the Questoris Knights box. Most of the rest of the Titanicus range looks like it's getting re-releases but might be direct only from Games Workshop. There's 2 terrain sets coming out, Imperialis Ruin Buildings and a Administratum sector, the big rulebook and some data cards individually, and some individual bases for both this system and Aeronautica. Overall, it really is quite a lot of stuff. I think most people's focus will probably be on the big box, Warhammer the Horus Heresy Legions Imperialis to give it its full title, Epic Battles in the Age of Darkness. It seems that the price tag for this thing is £120, €155, which should put it at $200 if it remains the same sort of price conversion from the recently released Cerastus Knights. I think for that kind of pricing that is roughly what I would have expected for this box set. A starter set for the gaming system with really quite a lot of fun models, but it doesn't exactly have the same amount of plastic content as say the full-scale Horus Heresy starter box set came out with, for example. In the box set you get the big hardcover rulebook for the gaming system, templates dice and some range rulers plus some transfers, and really quite a lot of fun miniatures. For the Space Marines there's 2 Sicaran battle tanks, 3 Predators, 4 Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and then 2 infantry sections, 2 sets of 9 little infantry bases each. And then for the Solar Auxilia it's 2 Malkador heavy tanks, 4 Leman Russes and 4 Charonite Ogrins. Again 2 sets of 9 infantry bases for the Solar Auxilia forces, and then 4 heavy sentinels. Zooming in a little bit, here are a few of the miniatures from the Space Marines, interesting little bases of squads that I feel like might be a bit of a challenge to paint at this sort of level. They're basically knee-high to a standard Space Marine in 40k. They also have special bases compared with what you might be used to seeing for Warhammer as well. They're really quite thin and shallow, so they don't just dominate the model and raise them up far higher than you might expect. Here's a zoom in of a couple of those Sicaran tanks. Apparently each one's able to choose its turrets and sponsons. Kind of fun to have some little war gear choices going on there. Here's a zoom in of some Solar Auxilia infantry miniatures. They come with individual specialists within the formation, a command section, some standard ones, and some flamers and a few other variants. I think perhaps some of the most fun things from this entire release that I think are kind of cool are just the miniature tanks that you might be kind of used to seeing in Warhammer 40k. I do quite like these mini Lehman Russ battle tanks and the Malcadors and things. Just seems kind of fun to command entire tank squadrons into battle like that. Overall, for the starter armies plus the big book, I feel like it's probably going to be at least a somewhat acceptable price for some people out there. Basically the same sort of offering as a lot of Games Workshop standard battle forces, and a bit less than the Christmas ones for 40k. Maybe not too horrendous as an introduction to the system if you want to jump in. It looks like you would be able to get just the rules separately if you wanted to. The big rule book was also listed as an individual release on Games Workshop's preview article, though it doesn't look like there's any prices from the third-party seller's price list. So I guess that might mean it might just be a direct-only product, so you wouldn't be able to get discounts if you just wanted to pick it up individually. I did think it was interesting that Games Workshop said they're going to offer this as a digital e-publication as well, something they don't do at the moment for 40k codexes and the like. That might be partly due to their system of unlocking rules on the apps though. Otherwise, there's also some army cards coming out, I'd guess again direct only, with the Legions Astartes and the Solar Auxilia as two options, and apparently you get 2 copies of each detachment and formation on the cards. Maybe feels a little bit on the redundant side. I'm not sure if that's just literally because they don't have all that many units released for the systems yet, unless there's something that I'm missing there. Otherwise, for the box sets of other tiny tanks and things that come out alongside the release, these are the 3 Marine offerings besides the Thunderhawk. There's a set for 2 sets of 9 infantry plus the 4 dreadnoughts. There's one for a set of 4 Kratos battle tanks and one for a set of 10 rhinos, and each one of these sets is £30, €40 or $50 individually. Perhaps feels not too differently from Games Workshop standard sort of pricing there. I guess tanks and dreadnoughts and things in this scale are very roughly standard infantry model sort of size, so I guess having 10 rhinos for the price of 10 infantry might seem kind of on par, I suppose. Otherwise, for the Auxilia, it's the infantry section with the heavy sentinels plus the infantry sections. Looks like you get some of the Charonite Ogrins in that as well. Looks like they come in addition to the foot troops as well, so you're getting 4 more bases of models there. There's also a pair of mini Baneblades on offer as well. Again, these ones are all £30, €40 or $50. Otherwise, on their announcement article, they've also got the Aeronautica miniatures repacked. Besides the Thunderhawk, it would imply that the rest of these are probably going to be direct only. Things like the Marauder bombers and the Thunderbolt fighters and things, and the Arvis lighters from Forge World. For one Thunderhawk, it's the same price as the other sections of infantry or tanks. These have all been rebased now, so are sort of on a circular basis with a flight stem, as opposed to the Aeronautica hexagonal ones. Otherwise, there's a whole host of things that have been repackaged from Adeptus Titanicus. I guess they might be moved over to the Legions Imperialis branding, plus I think that this was partly an opportunity just to replace the bases for them. Again, I'd imagine that the majority of these might be Games Workshop web store direct only, besides the specific ones mentioned like the Warlord variants and the Reaver with the Melter. Terrain was also something that they said they'd have releases for this system. The Ruined Buildings kit that they have on the left is £45, €60 or $75. I believe that in the system you can have buildings be destroyed and things, so I guess that might be partly to represent that. You could have an intact building and then replace it with one of these. And they're re-releasing an Administratum sector, which I believe includes these road tiles above, as well as some older Adeptus Titanicus terrain kits as well. That is a fair bit more expensive though, £100 or €130. Finally, it looks like to accompany all these releases, they are releasing the bases individually. No real details as to exactly how these will be sold at the moment, but basically offering the different base sizes for the units in question. The biggest Titans and things on the big 120mm oval base. There's a smaller 40mm flying one aimed for Aeronautica models, and they're also releasing the Aeronautica base set individually as well with the hexagonal ones for that system. Not sure exactly what form that release will take for these things, but it's kind of nice to at least give people the option to be able to get them individually. I'm not sure how many people out there will be actually tempted to rebase their Titanicus stuff though. Overall though, looks like an interesting enough system. Lots of little infantry and tanks marching in formations across the board. I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it, and if you are thinking about picking it up to try it out or not. As always, I'll look forward to hearing your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. I'll certainly try and keep on covering Games Workshop's news and releases. I tend to focus mostly on 40k stuff, with new videos out just about every day. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page as well, and you can find that linked in the video description if you'd like to help support. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.